It can be confusing to see people experiencing homelessness when Kingston has an emergency shelter system in place. But before deciding if our emergency shelter system works, do we understand how it works? The City of Kingston funds multiple shelter facilities and supports organizations that provide shelter services. Emergency shelters are an entry point into numerous coordinated services to support people who are homeless. So why do we still see people experiencing homelessness? Above all, we can't force an individual to accept shelter services. However, if an individual experiencing homelessness refuses shelter services, home-based housing street outreach team will check on them as much as possible to help and reoffer services. If the individual chooses to seek help from a shelter, their journey to stable housing begins with the shelter intake process. The intake process is the most important and widely misunderstood aspects of the shelter system. Due to many factors, including privacy, the decision to admit or not admit an individual to a shelter is one that seems simple, but is often more complex. When someone arrives at a shelter, there are 3 checks shelter staff must complete: diversion, safety, and participation. If the individual has been accepted for services, shelter staff will now use a 9-step diversion approach to help them identify safe alternatives to the shelter. This can include mediating with landlords or roommates to remain in current housing, staying with friends or family, renting a motel room. If there is truly no other safe and suitable option, the individual will be considered for a stay at the shelter. Why do our shelters practice diversion? Diversion identifies the specific supports individuals actually need to seek and/or maintain a safe, long-term housing situation. Diversion ensures valuable beds are available for those who have no safe option to a shelter. The shelter is responsible for the safety of clients and staff. There are safety-based reasons why a person might be refused entry. Once a shelter is determined to be the best option for the individual, shelter staff will then communicate the expectations for their stay at the shelter. The individual must agree to participate in the housing search process and work with a case manager. If they refuse to participate in the housing search process, they might be asked to leave the shelter or be referred to more suitable services. We want to support everyone in our community dealing with homelessness. But to truly support long-term and impactful change for as many citizens as possible, Kingston's emergency shelter system will provide services in a safe, equitable, and sustainable manner.